Hey everyone, Zian over here from Nintendo Life, and today we're here to share with you our review of Harvest Moon: One World on the Nintendo Switch. Now, this review was originally written by Kate Gray for NintendoLife.com, but was reworked into this video by me. To summarize the next few hundred words of complaining, Harvest Moon: One World is a badly paced, unattractive, hollow facsimile of a Harvest Moon game. And yes, we're well aware of the Natsume Marvelous Xseed split, and that Story of Seasons is the true Harvest Moon game, but even still, how the mighty have fallen. Surely it can't be that hard to make a good farming game, or at least a decent one, right? Well, let's explain. Harvest Moon: One World starts abruptly, spending very little time on story before kicking you into its sparse, flat world. The harvest goddess is missing, and everyone in the world has forgotten what vegetables are. However, you are a special, magical being, and by virtue of being so special and magical, you discover turnips and begin your journey to restoring the world's agriculture, and eventually the harvest goddess. There are 6 areas in the game, each one themed around a season, climate, and vague flavor of a particular country, like Finland, Germany, Hawaii, and Egypt. And you'll have to complete the story in each one to free the harvest sprites that represent their people, and move one step closer to finding the harvest goddess. The game revolves around fetch quests. Villagers will send you letters saying, "Get me 6 chickpeas," or "Bring me 18 daisies," and it's up to you to grow and or find what they need in order to advance the plot. These fetch quests will require that you find seeds, which is the game's main gimmick. You can no longer buy seeds in shops. Instead, you have to find harvest wisps around the world who will give you a single bag of seeds. Back in games like Harvest Moon DS, finding the harvest sprites was a matter of performing tasks and interacting with the world, unlocking each one by making progress in your tasks. In One World, however, they are little blue glowy dots in the world that you press A next to, and they respawn every single day in exactly the same place. Each wisp will give you a single seed, the same seed each time, which can be planted only in certain locations and in certain seasons. And you won't be able to buy these seeds at shops until you've shipped lots of that one crop. So if you need multiples, you'll have to go back to that same exact spot for several days in a row. So we hope you love walking. Not that it matters too much anyway though, because the currency is wonky as heck. It's so hard to make decent money because although selling crops will net you a little bit of profit, someone will undoubtedly need 8 of them for a quest, and you'll have to spend a week gathering all the seeds and growing the crops. The animal produce, eggs, milk, and wool is easy enough to get, but is of one quality, no matter how much your animals actually like you. So there's little reason to interact with the animals beyond squeezing them until dairy comes out. What's more, some of the recipes cost up to 75,000 gold. That's as much as it costs to upgrade your house, spent on a recipe. A horse, on the other hand, costs at least 15,000 gold, a sum that's hard to make in the first 2 seasons, and you'll regret every second you don't have it, because One World's map is made up of long, winding corridors of nothingness leading to vast expanses of empty land. And get this, walking takes stamina. Yeah, we passed out multiple times just from trying to get home at like 6 p.m. The people that dwell in One World's various lands come in a few different flavors. There's dateable characters, of which there are 10, people who are related to those dateable characters, and a bunch of unnamed randoms who bear titles like Awkward Man and Excited Woman. These aren't one-off characters either. They are persistent and even give you quests. So good luck trying to figure out which NPC is the friendly man who asked you for 3 eggs. We've spoken so many bad things about Harvest Moon: One World already, and we haven't even gotten to the farming bit properly. And surprise, surprise, it's bad. But not bad in a truly awful way, just uninspired, dull, and insultingly simple. This is a farming game in which your farm is reduced to a bunch of preset squares in predetermined places that you can bounce between with the use of the Expando farm, an initially promising new mechanic that turns out to just be as lifeless as the rest of the game. If you want to plant a range of vegetables, fruits, and flowers, which you'll need to if you want to progress at all, then you'll have to spend hours of each in-game day either walking or fast traveling to each individual farm, taking care of the crops, and going to the next place. Crops are split up into extremely specific types, so instead of bell pepper, you'll have orange peppers, green peppers, and red peppers, despite these vegetables coming from the same plant in the real world. These mutations will happen whether you want them to or not, so if you're desperately trying to grow a bunch of potatoes for a request, you might have just wasted a bunch of seeds. Some crops and mutations, which is a core part of One World's gimmick, only grow in specific areas, like the top of a volcano or a tiny meadow, but the fast travel points are never anywhere near those farms, so you'll be doing a lot of walking even after you've unlocked the ability to teleport. Likewise, the mines, which are unnecessarily large areas with the occasional ore deposit and no combat like in past games, are not close to fast travel points either. We haven't even begun to mention the things that have been removed from the game in its time under Natsume, the most egregious of these, for our money anyway, being the ability to have same-sex marriages. Not only is this an insult to the many fans of the series and genre who are under the LGBTQ umbrella, but it's a backwards, unnecessary denial of modern times. What's more, the character creator is unbelievably limited, restricting players to only a handful of lighter skin tones and hair colors that include lavender, green, and yellow. The outfit selection is not much better either, and you don't even unlock them until very late in the game. Add on other things like the inability to sell items, the short romantic cutscenes, the lack of festivals, which we should mention are unlocked through befriending characters, the game progression that's locked behind dialogue that you have no way of knowing about, and the stripped down shops and cafes that litter the land, and you're left feeling like this pared down version of a farming game is little more than a minimum viable product. We have no doubt that some of you will persevere and find something to like about Harvest Moon One World, and we're genuinely happy for you if you do. Finding joy in anything is a feat worth celebrating, but we just couldn't find enjoyment in this game. It looks like a mobile game, and it plays like a Harvest Moon game in the same way that Farmville plays like a Harvest Moon game. It's soulless, vapid, and completely misunderstands what makes games like this charming. In a post-Stardew Valley era, there's no excuse for consistently missing the mark like this. We wanted to write this piece post-marriage, but hopefully you'll understand why we couldn't in the end. At first, we were making steady progress with our chosen future spouse at 4.5 hearts out of 5, which is usually a good sign, and we'd almost solved all the problems from the main plot of the game. But then we started wondering how long it would actually take to get a ring on our finger. We won't spoil it too much, but it turns out that you can't get married without spending 400,000 gold, plus a ton of time in the mines, plus finishing the main story, unlocking all the tool upgrades, relying on the game's RNG, and a long period of waiting for things to grow to get the rare materials that you need. And we just couldn't do it. We don't need to get married to know that this game is a dud. We had hopes, we really did. The Expando farm seemed cool, and there was evidence that the dialogue in One World might actually be better than Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olivetown. But this game isn't bad enough to be funny. It's just sad. It's disappointing, shallow, and sad. If you're looking for the next Stardew Valley, this doesn't even come close. Harvest Moon One World is a poor imitation of what the series once was, and it feels more like a rushed mobile game than a full-fledged Switch game. These games have always been about chores, but this one feels like a chore to play. In our opinion, your money is better spent on something that respects you as a fan of the genre. We here at Nintendo Life give Harvest Moon One World on the Nintendo Switch a 3 out of 10. If you'd like to check out our full written review, you can find that along with more news and info on Harvest Moon One World and the rest of the series over at nintendolife.com. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Zion from Nintendo Life. Stay safe out there, and we will see you next time.